G'day everyone and welcome to a Sky Racing preview of one of Australia's, if not the world's, most famous races. The Melbourne Cup for 2024 is shortly upon us. 24 of the world's best stayers will be thundering down the Flemington Straight, not once but twice over the 3,200 metre journey. And there's plenty on the line. Of course, it's upwards of $8.5 million, but it's not really about the money, is it? It's the prestige and the bragging rights of being a Melbourne Cup winner. They come from far and wide to contest it. And these are the 24 we have assembled for this year's edition. Off the top, Vauban was heavily backed last year. Not a whole lot went to plan. We'll touch on that shortly. Back for another chance as top weight William Buick takes the ride. Buckaroo and Joe Moreira is going to be a massive chance in this year's edition. Mark Zara rides Circle of Fire. Others down that first page, Kovalika, Land Legend, and Absurde are going to be key market chances by the time the race rolls around on Tuesday. Let's take a look at the second page because there's 24 of the best, as we said. One Smooth Operator gets Craig Williams. Andrea Atzini, the Italian jockey who won the Sydney Cup, he's riding Zardozi for Godolphin. Sea King. Holly Doyle has her first ride in the race, as does Winona Costin down the bottom there on Positivity. Will be having her first crack at the Melbourne Cup in this year's 2024 edition. We could be here all day and talk about 24 form lines, but I've narrowed it down to 4 replays and horses to take a look at for this year's great race. Let's get stuck straight into it. I'm going to start with Sea King. Here it is in the OTI colours up on the speed. This was a Bendigo Cup victory, first time in Australia. It sat back, looped the field on the turn, and really raced away from them. This was a really impressive Australian debut.
400, he raced 2-3 in front. Down the outside as First Light, then Horrifying. Barclay Square and Star Vega are wider out. 200 metres to go though. Sea King's in front. Herman Hess is whacking away. It's all Sea King. I reckon he's home. Barclay Square, Star Vega, Herman Hess. They're battling out the minors, but it is Sea King in a cakewalk. He wins the Bendigo Cup on his way to Melbourne by 4 lengths to Barclay Square and Star.
Now, a few things to note here. It's obviously not going to be the strongest form reference we'll take a look at. The horses who finished in behind Sea King that day at Bendigo are not really Melbourne Cup fancies, even if they were to make a field. However, there's a few things I like. That was a first Australian run, did a lot of work on the turn, looping the field and raced away, held that margin, and the sectionals through the line identifies that it is a horse who's going to be able to run the 3,200 metres. Let's touch on the race itself on Tuesday. Barrier 1, it'll draw to do no work in behind them. I'm hoping can be maybe 2 or 3 pairs back to fence, just getting that suck run, falling asleep and presenting at the right time when they all fan on that home turn, should get the splits. And Holly Doyle is a genuine superstar international rider who's looking for a bit of luck, her first time into a Melbourne Cup. I think, giving it a bit away, I think Sea King could be hard to beat. Buckaroo, now this is such an interesting runner. Chris Waller, Joe Moreira combining with it. It is flying, this preparation. Here's a Caulfield Cup run. It's back here in the Aussie Kerr colours, just getting through. Probably missed the boat a touch on this day behind Duke de Sessa, who hits the lead and wins. Look at the way that this horse rattles home to get second.
Duke de Sessa, 200 metres to go, 4 lengths in front. Buckaroo's the only danger, trying to get into the lead. Duke de Sessa, 100 to go from Buckaroo, 1 length and 3/4, but it's going to be Duke de Sessa, Harry Coffey. This is your moment. 1.5 lengths Buckaroo, 5 lengths away, third.
It was a huge run there, Buckaroo. The horse in the red and the horse in the blue, that's Land Legend and Zardozi, who are big chances in this race, and Buckaroo went past them like they were nailed to the fence. Go back a run prior to this, it finishes second to Via Sistina. Via Sistina comes out and wins a Cox Plate in track record time, maybe one of the greatest Cox Plate victories we've ever seen. Buckaroo is flying this prep, has returned a completely different animal since that gelding operation, gets Joe Moreira, but the one big knock is the barrier draw way out near the car park. And for a horse who we think will run 3,200 metres but isn't proven to, that's a horror draw. I think they're going to have to take their medicine, get well back in the field and be spotting some good horses a big start. If it drew a middle draw, it would maybe start $3.50, $4 favour on the day. It won't be anywhere near that mark. So with luck from the draw, you might be getting a price. There's a lot to and ah about regarding Buckaroo in this year's edition. Let's touch on a few of the key international chances. 2 of the Willie Mullins runners who we've already seen, of course, in a Melbourne Cup. The first one we'll start with is Absurde. So was pretty well backed in this race last year. You'll see it here present in the white and the pink cap. Zach Purton was on it this day. Presented here and asked it to let down, and just there it quickens. And I'm assuming Zach for 1 second went, hang on, here I am, I'm on the winner. But the run quickly ends, and I think they'll be trying different tactics this time around.
Without a fight up to Absurde, Vauban to Clare and Shiraz the bolter. It's without a fight, 100 metres to go, 2 or 3 lengths in front, coming away from Shiraz and also Salcombe. Without a fight, Mark Zara, a Melbourne Cup champion, wins it by 2 lengths. Second in the race was Salcombe, third Shiraz. They were followed by...
So it was beaten 5.5 there in the end, as you saw, presented, quickened, but then quickly faded to finish 5th. The key to this horse is he only has a very short sprint. Karen McAvoy takes the ride this year, and I think he would have been seeing that replay and going, okay, I know what I have to do now. Cuddle this horse up in behind runners in this straight for as long as possible, and at the last second, then present it and see if it can sprint that last maybe furlong and a half to present as the winner. Comes into the race off a really similar setup to last year. It's had about the same break between races leading into the race. Karen McAvoy, as I mentioned, he's won this race plenty of times and is just trying to figure out how to get this horse to win. I think that's going to be the play. Wouldn't shock me to see it really well backed on the day and go a few better than last year. Is it going to win? Well, I guess we'll have to wait and find out. How about the other runner for Willie Mullins? That is, of course, Vauban. This was your favourite last year in the race. It was pretty disappointing for mine. I think it's going to be a different animal this time around. Here it is, finishing second in the Group 1 Irish St Ledger behind Kyprios. This is elite UK form. It's back on the fence there with the white and green silks. Tries hard into second. And at the time, Kyprios was in the streak of 4 Group 1s in a row.
The final furlong and now moves on from the Euphrates. Vauban, Giavoloto next on the outside, but it is Kyprios, the superstar there, reclaims the Irish St Ledger. Second is Vauban, third is Giavoloto.
Well, there you go. The call said it all. Kyprios, this superstar stayer. And there is Vauban running second to it. That has to be a respected form line. The fact that they've brought the horse back here after a failed campaign last year, Willie Mullins accepted defeat on that occasion and even put his hand up and said, I probably got this campaign wrong. They've tweaked a few things. They've kept him fresher into this year's edition, but I'm just still not sure he's the right horse for the race. How am I playing it this year? That's the way I'm playing it. Sea King, the first replay we took a look at, the Bendigo Cup victory, I think second up in Australia, can really launch to a new ratings peak. Draws to do no work, barrier 1, falls asleep, and Holly Doyle just presents it in the right time, gives it 1 or 2 around the backside and said, let's go, and tries to win the Melbourne Cup for 2024. If we want to play our exotics, which, of course, in a 24-horse handicap field we always do, I think the duet play is Buckaroo. It just needs one of the best rides the Magic Man Joe Moreira can ever produce from that barrier to be a chance. If it does, it's a genuine hope running top 1, 2, or even 3. Sea King to win, Buckaroo the duet play in this year's edition of the Melbourne Cup. You'll catch it all live here, first Tuesday in November, of course, on Sky Racing.